Hi, welcome to all. Today we are going to discuss percentages. I hope you people are very familiar with percentages in our day-to-day life. Why? Because in our day-to-day life we come across percentages. When we go for shopping, we find 50% discount, 60% discount, flat 70, flat 80. So that's the way you are related to percentages. That means you have some familiarity with percentages. And people, those who have completed their graduation or intermediate or 10th class, people have some annoying questions like, so what's your percentage in intermediate, what's your percentage in your graduation? So in that way you are connected with percentages. But whereas coming to competitive examination, this is entirely different. So percentages, this topic is very important in competitive examination, especially in SSC. Why? Because directly from percentages you are going to get 5 to 8 questions, and indirectly you are going to get 15 to 20 questions. How 15 to 20 questions indirectly? Because you have subtopics like profit and loss, simple interest, compound interest, data interpretation and data sufficiency. All these topics need to have the basics in percentage. To solve the problems in percentage, profit and loss, you need to have the basic concepts of percentage. So most of the questions are based on discounts. So those discounts are 50% or 20%. They ask on percentage. So you need to have a clarity on percentage. So in order to solve all this, you need to have a little bit of practice in percentage. So unless and until you are perfect in percentage, you are no way going to solve these major topics, and these major topics are very important to SSC examination or SBI examination or various other competitive examination. So these contribute 15 to 20 questions. So now you have got clarity that percentages are how important to in a competitive examination. So now let's discuss from the basics. What are percentages? And we go step by step and we go to the level of higher level, so that we can able to solve very higher level questions also. Okay. First, what is percentage? What is the name percentage indicates to us? I hope you people know the definition of percentage. Per cent. So centum, this is a Greek word, centum. Like we use century for 100 runs or 100 marks. So in the same way, centum also indicates 100. Per means for every 100. So percentage indicates for every 100. So you need to calculate each and everything per 100. Got clarity? Percentage means per 100. Likewise, how do you denote 10 percentage? 10 per 100. Per every 100. Similarly, 25 percentage. 25 by 100. So this is the way you denote percentage. 10% means 10 per 100, 25% means 25 per 100. Got clarity? And next, what is 25 percentage? What percentage of 25 is 250? My question is, what percentage of 250 is 25? Now 25 out of 250, 25 is what percentage? That means, how do you going to solve this problem? By convention, we have got a formula, that is divided by of into 100 gives you percentage. This is the conventional formula, that is 25 of 250 into 100. Now 10 percentage. So 25 is 10 percentage of 250. So every 25 is 250 percentage. Then what is 250 of 25? 100 percentage. For clarity. So this is the conventional way. There is some other way. That is, if 250 is 100 percentage, then 25 is What percentage? This is another method. This method is known as unitary method. That means when you cross multiply 25 into 100 divided by 250, again it gives you 10%. So percentages is a topic that which can be solved using a conventional formula or a unitary method. So most of the problems are solved using unitary rather than going for this conventional formula. So why to use more number of formulas and get confused in the examination? To avoid confusion and to be clarity, you are going for unitary method. So it's the best method of solving the problem. Sometimes this method is also useful. So we go when these methods are useful. Okay. Now let's go for the other question. That is, what is 29% of 1600? 29% of 1600 is dash. How you are going to find out this? By unitary method, we are going to find like, that is 100% is how 1600. Now 29% is how much? That's what you are going to do. Cross multiply it, 1600 into 29 divided by 100, you get 484, isn't it? So this is the way. But calculation of 16 into 29 is much risky. That means it consumes your time. Why? Because in a competitive examination, like let's take SSC examination, you have to solve the problem in less than 30 seconds. So to solve the problem in less than 30 seconds, if you consume the time in making this silly calculation, so your time will be lost. So you are left with no time. So then there is some other way. That is, this is the way, but there is much more simplification. How we are going to simplify this? Let's see that. Now, how do you write 29? 29 can be written as 30 minus 1, isn't it? Now, what is 10% of 1600? 10% of 1600. So 1600 into 10 by 100, isn't it? That is 160. 10% of 1600 is 150. Then what is 30% of 650? 1600. 10% into 3, that is 480. Got clarity? Sorry, not 480. 16 into 3, 48. 480. And what is 1% of 1600 now? 1% of 1600. 1600 into 1 divided by 100. So 1% of 1600 is 16. Now we want 30%, that is 29% equal to 30% minus 1%. 480 minus 16. That gives you 464. Our answer, sorry, it is 464. Now you got the clarity. So this way you can solve. If you are very much perfect in calculation, you can go this way. But if you are not having perfect calculation, that means you are not very efficient, you can go this way also. That means 10% of 1600 is 160 and 30% is 480 and 1% is 16. So 30, that 480 minus 16 gives you 460. So here you need to do with a pen. That means you need to put pen on the paper and you need to solve here. But while coming to this, when you look at the question, you need not even put the pen on the paper. So by just looking at the question, 10% 160. So here 30% 160 into 3, that is 480, and 1% is 16. 480 minus 16 gives you 29%. Now there is no requirement of pen at all. So this is the way you need to do the problem. That means to reduce the time, furthermore, so that you can gain the time in solving some other problem, so that you can attempt at least 50 questions, 50 out of 50 questions, right? So this is one of the method that you need to solve. Now let's do some other problem in the same way. I hope you got the clarity why we are dividing this problem, simplifying, furthermore simplifying. Now the second one is, what is 11.5 percentage of 1600? Now how you gonna solve this 11.5 percentage of 1600? The same way, I hope so. That is 100 percentage is 1600. Again 11.5 percentage is how much? 1600 into 11.5 divided by 100. So 1600. Now you are left with 16 into 11.5. So here you need to do this calculation. But while coming to the next method, which is the easiest method, 11 percentage can be written as 10 percentage plus 1 plus 0.05 is equal to 11.5, isn't it? Now directly, what is 10 percentage? 160. What is 1 percentage? 16. What is half percentage? 8. Now 160 plus 16 plus 8, 160 plus 16, 178, 176 plus 8. What is the answer? 184. So here you need to go for 16 into 11.5, whereas here by looking the question itself, 11.5 can be denoted as 10 plus 1 plus 5. 10 percentage is 160, 1 percentage is 16, 160 plus 16, 176 plus 8, 184. Very simple, isn't it? So by adopting this type of method, you can save your time, because time matters in competitive examination. Why? Because most of the people, if you carry your question paper to your home and you sit for 2 hours or 3 hours, if you solve the problems, you can solve the problems very easily, but by taking a lot of time. But in examination, you are stressed. That means you don't have proper time. You need to solve a question in less than 30 seconds. So there you get confused. So you need to do the problem in very short time, so that those problems can be done in by adopting these kind of methods, isn't it? Got clarity? Now let's do some other problems so that you can reduce your time. The next problem is, if x is 80% of y, then what percentage of x is y? This is the question. Now what have you understood from this question? If x is 80% of y, then what percent of x is y? First we will go by convention method, that is x is by of, use the percentage. I have said is by of into 100 gives us percentages, isn't it? Now what is x divided by of y into 100 is equal to 80. That what he is given. Now what we need to find is y divided by of x into 100 is equal to how much? This is what we need to find. This is what, very simple. You need to transfer this, that is 100 by 80, you send this one, that equal to y by x. Now what is this? 5 by 4 is equal to y by x. Multiply 100 on both sides, 25. So y by x into 100 is equal to 25 percentage. What is this? We need to find y by x into 100 is equal to 25%. This is the convention method. The other method is very simple. So if x is 80% of y, that means let's y is 100 percentage. If y is 100, x is 80 percentage. Now if x is 80 percentage, then y is what percentage of x? Simply 80 by 100 into 100. Sorry, 100 by 80 into 100. that which gives 125. Got clarity? So y is 100, x is 80, then 100 by 80 into 100 gives 125. This is very simple. So you can solve this in conventional method as a other method also. Now let's do other problem. The next question is, there is a student who multiplied a number by 3 by 5 instead of multiplying it by 5 by 3. So what is the percentage of error in his calculation? So there is a student, here is a student who multiplied a number x. Let the number be x. So multiplied by, what is that number? 3 by 5. So he multiplied x with 3 by 5 instead of multiplying the number with 5 by 3. Got clarity? So there is a number x. So instead of multiplying it with 5 by 3, he multiplied the number with 3 by 5. Now there he made a mistake. So with this mistake there will be error. Now he asked error percentage. What is the error percentage? How you are going to solve this problem? Number be x. He has multiplied this number with 3 by 5 instead of multiplying with 5 by 3. Now what this becomes? 3x by 5. This is 5x by 3. This is the actual number, but this is the error number. Now what is the difference between these two? 5x by 3 minus 3x by 5, isn't it? LCM 15. So 3 is a 5 3 is 15 plus 3 3 is a 9. 15 minus 9, isn't it? 5 minus 25 minus 9. 25x minus 9x divided by 15, that gives 16x by 15. What is this? This is error. So in question paper he will give given 4 options. Out of 4 options, one of the option is 16x by 5. So by looking at this 16x by 5 you will put the answer. So 16x by 5, finish. But once you read the question very carefully. What he has asked is error percentage, not the error he made. So you need to read the question thoroughly within depth so that you get error percentage. It's not just error. Now how do you find the error percentage? Error divided by total value, that is 16x by 15 divided by 5x by 3 into 100 gives you the error percentage. And what is this? 16x by 15 into 3 by 5x into 100, isn't it? X get cancelled. 3 5 5 5 is 25, 25 4, that is 64%. The error percentage is 64. Got clarity? I hope so. Now let's move to the other question. The next question is, what is what is 20% of 25% of 300? Now how you are going to solve this problem? What is 20% of 25% of 300? So what to do now? First, what is 25% of 300? Find it out. So first you need to find 25% of 300, then you need to find 20% of the given value, the value that you got from calculating this, isn't it? Now what is this? 25% of 350, that means 100% is 300. What is 25 percentage? Isn't it? This is our calculation. So 25 into 300 divided by 100. What is this? 75. 25 percentage of 300 is 75. Now what is 20 percentage of 75? Now 20 percentage of 75, that what we need to calculate. So 100 is 75. Now 20 is how much? 75 into 20 divided by 100, isn't it? So 17, 150 divided by 10, that gives 15. Your answer is 15. So you need to find 20 percentage of 300, 25 percent of 300, and then you need to find 20 percentage of this thing. Now you got clarity. How much time it will take for you to solve this problem? At least 40 seconds if you are perfect in calculation, 30 to 40 seconds. But you can solve this problem just in 10 seconds, not even 10 seconds, less than 10 seconds. How? See, 300. What is 50% of 300? 150. Now what is 50 percentage of this 150? 75. That is 25% of 300. 50% of 300 is 150, and half of this 50 percentage is 25%. That is 75. You got 75. Now 10% of 75 is, what is 10% of 75? How do you calculate this? 10% of 75 is simply 75 divided by 100 into 10, isn't it? So it gives you 7.5. Simply whenever 10% is asked, you put a dot. 7.5. Now 10% is 7.5, 20% is 7.5 plus 7.5, that is 15. So you need not to put the pen on the paper, and you can easily solve within less than 10 seconds. That is 25 percentage, 50% of 300 is 150, 25% is 75. Now what is 10% of 75 is 1, 20% is 15%, 7.5 plus 7.5. So it can be solved in less than 3 seconds. Got clarity? So this is the way you need to adopt the calculation problem. Got clarity? And next we will do some more problems so that you can gain more and more adapting to this method, so that you can solve a problem in less than 30 seconds, and not even in less than 30 seconds, in less than 10 to 15 seconds. Okay, got clarity? Now let's go for the other question. Next question is, there is a person named Srinivas. So he spent his income. So a person who spends his income, that is, he spends his income. So we can take it as expenditure also. So this problem is talking about expenditure. So he spent 20% on food. So he has some salary, he gets some salary for every month. So out of that salary, he spends 20% on food, 10% on education, 10% on entertainment, and 10% in charity. Now this overall spending is equal to 5,000. Now he is asking, what is the annual income? Annual income of Mr. Srinivas. I hope you got clarity on the question. Mr. Srinivas gets some income. So out of that income, he spent 20% on food, 10% on education, 10% on entertainment, and 10% on charity. So these percentage, that means these spendings are equal to 5,000 rupees. Now what is his annual income? How do you gonna solve this problem? Now by convention method, what we take, Let the income of the person Mr. Srinivas be X. Now what is 20% of income? So what you are going to do? Out of that 20% is on given to food. Now what? 20% means 20% of X and rest remaining 20%. So that is the conventional method. But very simpler method is add these percentages. 20 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. 50%. This is the 50% he is spending. So this overall percentage is 50%. That means 50% of the income he is been spending. Got clarity? Now 50% is equal to 5,000 rupees. Isn't it? Now what is 100%? This 100% gives his monthly income. So 5,000 into 100 divided by 50, 51, that is his monthly income is 10,000. So answer is finished. People, you feel that? But he asked his annual income, not his monthly income. In order to find annual income, you need to multiply it with 12. So 10,000 into 12, that is 1,20,000. His annual income. Now got clarity? So instead of going for the conventional method, you can go for this method, which is very easy and which can be solved in less than 10 seconds. So what is this? 20% on food, 10% on education, 10 this. So overall 50%. So 50% is 5,000. Then what is 100%? 10,000. So what is he has asked annual income, that is 10,000 into 12. So 1,02,000. So whether you need to put the pen on the paper isn't required. Simply you can see by looking at the question, you can directly solve the question in your mind itself. There is no need to take a pen and put on the paper, write all these things. So by practicing, by lot of practice, you can solve it in your mind in less than 20 seconds, so that you can answer very quickly. Got clarity? Now next question. What is next question? Mr. There is a person, one more person. This is also very similar, but this is somewhat different question. That is Mr. X. Let's take Mr. X. He spends, that means he gives 20% of his income. 20% of his income to elder son, and from the remaining gives 30% to younger son, and again from the remaining he gives 10% to charity. Now he is left with rupees 100,80. What is his monthly income? Once look at the question. Mr. X, so he earns some money in his month. So out of that money he spent 20% to his elder son. That means he gives 20% of his monthly income to his elder son. And out of the remaining, that means after giving 20%, some amount is left with him. Out of that he gives 30% to his younger son. After giving 30%, again he is remained with some money. out of that remaining he spends 20% on charity. After spending all these incomes, now he is left with 10080 amount. Now what is his monthly income? How you are going to solve this problem? Once look at this question properly again. I hope you got the clarity on the question. Mr. X gives 20% to his income elder son, and out of the remaining, after giving 20%, he is left with some money. In that 20%, he spends 30 or gives 30 to his younger son. After giving 30, again he is left with some remaining. In that remaining, he spends 10% on charity. After spending all this, he is left with 18,000. Sorry, 10080. You people feel that this is very much similar to the problem which is earlier we solved, isn't it? In that problem, what you have solved? 20 plus 30 plus 10, 60% is equal to this much. Then what is 100%? Isn't it? 60% is equal to 10080. Now what is 100%? If you are going to solve this problem in this way, this is entirely wrong. Why? Because in the previous problem, he has given that directly he has spent. That means out of 100% income, he has spent 20% on food, 10% out of 100%, 10% on education, out of 100, 10% on entertainment, out of 100, 10% on that thing. But whereas here he is spending 30-10 on the remaining amount. That means after giving amount to the elder son. Now what is the method to solve this question? Let's solve this. That is, I hope you got the clarity on the question. First, let the income be X. Let us consider the income be X. 20% he gave it to his elder son. That means what is 20% of elder son? 20% of X. That is 20 by 100 into X. So he gave this to his elder son. Now what he is remained with? Again remaining amount X minus 20 X by 100, that is 80 X by 100. This is the remaining amount. So 20%, that means out of 100 X he has spent 20%, that is 20 by 100 into X amount he is given to his elder son. After giving, he is left with this amount, and out of this he spends, that means he gives 20% to, sorry, 30% to younger son. How much he has given to his younger son? 30%, but 30% of not X, 30% out of the remaining, that is 80 X by 100. What is this 30 X by 100? That is 80 X by 100 into 30%, 30 into 100. This is what we had. Now the remaining amount is, after giving this, again 80x 100 minus 80x by 100 into 30 by 100. So this is the remaining amount. What do you get remaining? If you take this outside, 80x by 100, that is 1 minus 30 by 100. That gives you 80x by 100 into 70 by 100, isn't it? Now this is the remaining amount. Again, out of this remaining amount, he spent 10% on charity. On charity, 10% out of this remaining amount. 10% out of 80x by 100 into 70 by 100, isn't it? Now what it becomes? 80x by 100 into 70x by 100 into 10 percentage, isn't it? Now this is the amount. Now what he is remaining? Again the remaining amount is 80x by 100 into 70 by 100 minus 80x by 100 into 70 by 100 into 10 by 100. So this is what? This is common. If you take common, now you are left with 80x by 100 into 70 by 100 into 90 by 100. This is what your remaining amount. Now this final amount is this much. He is remaining amount, the final and the last remaining amount. Now he has given that 80 by 100 into 70 by 100 into 90 by 100 into x is equal to 10080. This is what he has given. Now you need to find the value of x. Now you can find the value of x very simply. So x is equal to, how do you find it? 10080 divided by 8 into 7 into 9 into 1000. And what's the value of it? So when you calculate, you are going to get x is equal to 20,000. So that is the monthly income. So this is the conventional method. But actually people do, what is the method people adopted is directly a shortcut. How do you evolve a shortcut? When the problem is given, that means if he is spending the income on the remaining, that means the direct shortcut is, earlier what he is spending, let's take the income be shortcut. Let the income be x. Out of x, first he is spending, that is 20% is given to his elder son. Now he is left with, so out of 20, 100, 20 is given means you are left with 80. So 80 by 100. Now he is given 30% to his younger son. Now out of 100, 30% is given means 70 by 100. And finally he is giving 10% to charity. Now he is left with 90, that is 90 by 100 is equal to 10080. So this is the shortcut. Whenever if a person is spending his income on the remaining, so this is the shortcut. Got clarity? Now how, before I can say directly the shortcut, but we have evolved the shortcut from here. Got clarity? How we have evolved? So here he is spending on 20% in elder son. Now he is remained with 80 by x, that is what, 80 by 100. Now second case, out of this 30% he is spending, out of this 80 by x he is spending 30%. Now he is remained with again 70 by 100, so 100x by 100, again on 10% on charity. Now finally he is remained with 90 by 100. So overall it is given that same thing. So without going all this, without doing all these steps, you can directly go for this step. That means what I want to say is, so there are no shortcuts in maths. So if you avoid these steps, when you avoid these steps, when you solve 2 to 3 problems or 4 problems by doing this conventional method, you can directly go for these steps. So avoiding all these steps and going for this step directly means shortcut, so that you can solve a problem in less than 10 seconds. Less than 10 seconds. What I want to convey is, so there are no shortcuts. If you practice more and more, so that you can evolve your own shortcut. So avoiding the more number of steps, that means shortcut. So calculating the more and more steps in your mind leads to the shortcut. Got clarity? I hope so. And if the same kind of question is given, that means instead of giving the remaining amount, he will give you sometimes the total amount, actual amount. That means here he directly gives a person monthly income is 20,000. So out of 20,000 he spends 20% on elder son. Now he is remained with 80, and again out of that he is remained with 70. 30% to elder son, 10% on charity. So out of this 20,000, now what is the remaining amount? This is the way one more question can be framed. So even you can frame the questions when you know the concept. So there is no need to go for the questions by looking some searching for some books. So you can frame the questions when you got the clarity on the concept. Now I hope you got the clarity on this concept. There is some other way, that is unitary method, where you can solve the problem in other different method. We will discuss it also. So earlier the income of a person Mr. X is 100. Out of 100 he spent his income on elder son. What is he spending on elder son? See, on elder son 20%. So out of 100 if he is spending 20%, now he is remained with 80. After remaining out of 80, he is given 30% to his younger son. So what is 30% of 80? 10% is 8. 30% is 24. So remaining is 80 minus 24. That is 56. Now he spent 5 points. That is 10% on charity. That means 10% of 56 is 10% on charity. That is 5.6. Now he is remained with 56 minus 5.6. Now he is remained with 50.4. That 50.4 is equal to 10080. Now what is 100%? Very simple. Out of 100, 20 he given to elder son. Now he is remained with 80. Out of 80 he has given 30% to younger son. That is 24. Now he is remained with 56. Out of this 10% is given to charity. Out of 56, 10% is 5.6. Now he is remained with 50.4. That 50.4 is equal to 10080. Now what is 100%? You get the same answer again. So a single problem can be solved in various number of problems. That means various number of forms. So you need to remember is a single problem can be solved in various number of ways. But the ultimate is having the clarity on the concept. When you have the clarity on the concept, you yourself can frame the question, so that whenever a question is framed tricky, you can even solve the question very easily. Got clarity? Now next we will move to the other question. Next question is, so this is a very important question. Most of the people get confused in this question. There is a person A, Mr. A. Mr. A's salary is 25% more than B. A's salary is 25% more than B. Now, how much percent B's salary is less than A? This is our question. How do you solve this question? If A's salary is 25% more than B, then how much percent B's salary is less than A? So people get confused. If A's salary is 25%, people know we have confusion that if the distance from point A to B is 50 kilometers, then the distance from point B to A is also 50 kilometers. So in the same way, if A's salary is 25% more than B, then B's salary is obviously 25% less than A. So people get confused, but that is not the actual way. If A's salary is 25%, then B's salary is how much percent less? So this problem can be solved in more number of ways. Let's check the first conventional way. Let the salary of B be X, B's salary is X. Now A salary is 25% more than B salary. Now what is A salary? A salary becomes X plus 25% of X, isn't it? A salary is 25% more than B. Now X plus, what is 25% of X? 25 by 100, isn't it? This is what 25 by X. Now 125 X by 100. So if B salary is X, A salary is 125X. Now how much percentage B salary is less than A? So what is the, how to find less than? Now A is how much more than X? Difference. What is the difference? A minus B gives you 125 X by 100 minus X. What it gives? 25 X by 100. So difference is this much. Now this difference is how much less than A? That is 25X by 100 is how much less than? That is 125X by 100 into 100. So simply you cancel this. 25 5s are, that gives you by 5 is 20%. Now got clarity? If B salary is X, then A salary is 25% more, 125 by X. Now difference between A and B is 25 X by 100. Now this is the difference. So this difference is how much percentage of A? That gives the how much percent B is less than A. So this is one method, and the other method is unitary method. This is convention method. Suppose the B salary is 100. B salary is 100. Now what becomes A salary? 25% more. A salary is 125. Now what is the difference between A and B? A minus B gives you 25. So A is 25 rupees more than B. Now this 25 rupees is how much less than A? That what he want. 25 by 125 into 100. 25 5s are 20%. So if A salary is 25% more than B, now B salary is 25% less than A. Very simple. I hope you got clarity. And there is one more method which is very easy. If A salary is 25% more, how do you denote 25%? 25 by 100, that gives 1 by 4. Here if A is more, A salary is more, then B salary is how much less? Now this is 1 by 4. To become lesser number, what we need to do? We need to increase this denominator. To make this fraction lesser value, what we can do? Decrease the denominator. Sorry, we increase the value of denominator. When you increase the value of denominator, ultimately the value of fraction is reduced. How to reduce, increase the value of denominator? That is 1 by 4 plus 1. Numerator plus denominator, that is 1 by 5. What is 1 by 5? 20%. So if A is more than 20% more than this thing, now he is less than 20%. If the similar case is given here, if A salary is less than B and B salary is how much more than A? Now what you are going to do here? If 25% less than A indicates 1 by 4, isn't it? Now how much percent more? How do you make this fraction a more? By reducing this denominator. That means instead of here addition, you make it subtraction. 4 minus 1. 4 minus 1 is 1 by 3. 1 by 3 is 33%. 33, 1 by 3. I hope you got the clarity. By looking at the question, you can simply solve it. That means not even putting the pen on the paper. If A is 25% less, then how much percentage B is more? that means 25% is 1 by 4. So if less, we need to make it more. To make the lesser value more, you need to reduce the denominator. How do you reduce the denominator? By deducting the numerator. That is, denominator minus numerator will reduce the value. If the denominator is reduced, then the value of the fraction is increased, that which gives more. And if it is given more and if it is to make less, so you need to increase the value of denominator. How do you increase the value of denominator? You can increase the value of denominator by adding the numerator. So 4 plus 1, that is 1 by 5, that gives 20%. Got clarity? This is a very most important topic and you people get confused. I hope you got clarity on this question. Now let's move to the other question. In a village, every year the population increases by 10%. Now the population of the village is 10,000. After 3 years, what will be the population? See, listen to the question. There is a village. Consider your village. I consider my village, Mancherial. So in a village, there is a population. The population increases by 10%. Population increases 10% for every year. Present population is 10,000. Now population after 3 years. Got clarity in the question? There is a village Mancherial. The population of the village increases 10% for every year. That means for every year the population increases by 10%. Now the population is 10,000. Then what will be the population after 3 years? How do you going to solve this problem? Very simple. First 10,000. Now 10% increase in first year. What is 10% of 10,000? That is 10,000 into 10 by 100. That is 1,000. For first year, the population increased by 1,000 people. Now after 1 year, what will be the population? 10,000 plus 1,000, 11,000. The population after first year. And the second year, what will be the population after second year? Again the population increases by 10% in the second year. Now the 10% of the population is increased by 11,000. For out of 11,000 that population increase. Now how do you calculate? 11,000 into 10 by 100 again. How much? 1100. Now the population after second year, that is 11,000 plus 1100, that gives 12100. Now what is the population after third year? 10% of 12100, that is 12100 into 10 by 100. Got cancelled. 1210. So the final population is 12100 plus 1210, that gives 1333, that is 13310. Got clarity? This is the population after 13,000. The population after 3 years. First year the population increased by 10%. 10,000 out 10% out of 10,000 is 1,000. Now you add the 1,000 people to 10,000. Now the population became 11,000. So after 1 year the population is 11,000. Out of that 11,000, again the population increased by 10%. That is 11,000 is 10,000 means 1100. Now the population in second year is increased by 1100. Now add this to 11,000. 12100. This is the population of the second year. Now again the population is increased by 10% in the third year. That is 12100 into 10. That is 1210 is the population increase. The number of people got increased. Now finally add this 1 to here. You get, this is the result. That is 13,310 is the population after 3 years. So this is the way you need to solve. But if you go on solving problem in this way, it will consume your time, because the time is a major constraint. We need to look after it. Then how? There is a simple method, that is every year the population is increased by 10%. Now here we need to find the population after 3 years. The present population is 10,000. Every year it is increased by 10, that is 110 by 100. 10 plus 10, 100 plus 10, 110 by 100. Again 110 by 100 into 110 by 100 is equal to our answer. See, which gives 11 into 11, 121 into 100, that gives 13310. See, very simple. Just within few seconds, that is less than 10 seconds, you are going to solve this problem. Got clarity? Instead of doing all this, go for this 10% increase, 10% increase, 10% increase. Now let's frame the question in different way. That is, here he has given the present population. Now let's say if he gives the population after 3 years, that is 13110. Now find the present population. If we asked, then what you will do? Here very simple. We need to find the present population, that is x, isn't it? Now the final population is directly given 1310. You can find x. Got the clarity? Even if he gives the population after 3 years or the present population, use this formula. If he is given the present population, x into, that means 10,000 into increased, and you are going to get the final population after 3 years. And if he is given the final population, you need to find the present population. X into increase in population gives you the final. Now you can find the population after population at present. Got clarity? Again, if the same question is given, but instead of increasing, here the population after second year is reduced by 10%. Now what you will do? If the population is reduced by 10%, then 100 minus 10, that is 90 by 100. First year increased by 10%, second year decreased by 10% means 90 by 100. Again increased by 10% means 110 by 100 into 100 gives the final value. This is the way you need to frame your questions yourself. The question may be given in any format. Whether it given in any format, you can solve the, this is the basic, that is the present value increased or decreased gives you the value after the years. Got clarity on this concept? Next question. In a city, a building value of 1,33,100 was built in a plot which valued 72900. Now the value of building be reduced by 10% every year, and the value of the plot is increased by 10%. After how many years the value of the building and the plot becomes the same? How do you going to solve this problem? See, there is a building which is constructed in a flat building which is of value 133 100. This is the value of the building which is constructed in a plot of value 7299. Now after few years, that means we don't know how many years it will take, the value of the building is being reduced by 10%, and whereas the value of the plot is increased by 10%. At some point these value become equal. At what point? That means after how many years the value of the building and the plot gonna be equal. How do you wanna solve this problem? It's very simple. That is 13310 by 720 is equal to, what is the reduced means? 10%, that is 90. 11 110 by 90 power n. This is the formula. Increased, decreased, whole power n gives you this thing. So this is the formula. How this formula has been evolved. So when you solve this, got cancelled. What is this? 0 0 get cancelled. This is 11 into 11 into 11 into 11, 9 into 9 into 9 into 9, that is 11 cube by 9 cube, that is 11 by 9 whole cube. When bases are equal, power should be equal. Now n equal to 3, that is 3 years. So this is the formula to solve. How the formula has been evolved. Now if you remember the formula, you are going to get confused and you are going to get forget the question, that means forget the formula in the examination. Now let's evolve the formula. How? First, what he said, the value of the building goes on reduced. Initially the value is 133. So this concept is very much similar to the previous problem that we have solved. Earlier the present population is this much. Let's consider the population. Now the population is reduced by 10% every year. That means 90 by 100. Again 90 by 100. 90 by 100. 90 by 100. We don't know at what point after n years it goes on reducing. Similarly, what happens? This should be equal to the price of the plot. How many years? We doesn't know. The plot is 72990 into, it is increased. The first year is increased by 10%. Again the second year is increased by 10%. Similarly the third year, and it goes on for n years. Now how you are going to do this? We doesn't know the n. That is 90 by 100 whole power n into 13310 is equal to 72990 into 10 by whole power n. This is what you got. Now let's take this one. Here you get cancelled. That is 13300 by 72990 is equal to 0 by 190 whole power n. Again the same thing. You got the formula which I have derived. Now this is the way you have derived. Got clarity? This formula has come from here. Now there is other simpler way. You can solve this question in much lesser time. Why? Because the question is framed in the manner of cubes or percentages. That means here, let's suppose it is increased or decreased by 20% or 30%. That means if it is increased by 20%, then what do you get? 120 means, again if it is decreased by 20%, 80. So 80 whole power n, that is 12 whole power n by 80. So again the values which are given here, the building values will be in terms of squares of 12 or squares of 8 or cubes of 12 or cubes of 8. So by looking at the values of the building or the values of the plot, you can directly see that these are the cubes or squares. Now you, by looking at this, you can see that this is a cube of 11, this is cube of 9. When you are thorough with cubes, then ultimately the answer is 3 years. So whether you need to put the pen, by just looking at the values, you can just simply say that always the examiner will definitely give the values in terms of cubes or squares of some values. If that sum is equal to, either maybe it reduced by 20%, means it by 120%, or that is 12 or 8. If it is reduced by 10 and increased by 20, now here 12 and 9, the values will be in the ratio of the same thing. That means here, got clarity? So just by looking at the values, you can find the answer. Now let's go for the other question, the final and the very most important question. If the price of a sugar is reduced by 20%, now a person can buy 500 grams more sugar for 36 rupees. What is the original price per sugar? He is given that price of a sugar is reduced by 20%. Price is reduced by 20%. Now by reducing this price by 20%, he is gonna get extra 500 grams of sugar for the same 36 rupees. Now what is the original price? How? The price is reduced by 20%. Now after reducing the price, for the same amount, he is got 500 grams extra. Now what is the original price? How do you solve? Let's solve it by conventional method. That is, let the price of the sugar per kg is X, the number of kgs he bought be Y, that gives the value 36. These 36 indicates number of the price of the sugar, number of kgs, isn't it? Price of the sugar into number of kgs is this value. Now what he has clearly mentioned that this price is reduced by 20%, that is X is reduced by 20%. Now when X is reduced by 20%, now what is the price you are left with? If this is reduced by 20%, that is, now you are remained with 80x by 100. How? X, 20% of X is 20 by 100. Now reduced price is 100 minus 20x by 100. You got 80x by 100. So this is a reduced price. Now 80x by 100. When reducing the price, you got the kgs, Y number of kgs, extra 500 grams, isn't it? For the same 36 rupees. This is equation 1, this is the equation 2 after reducing and after this. Now these two equations are similar. Now X, Y is equal to 80x by 100 into Y plus 500. I can write this. Now xy is equal to, what is this, 80 by 5, 4 by 5, x y plus 4 5 is 20, 2000 y by 5, sorry, 80 xy plus 500, 2000 x by 5, isn't it? Now when you take this, 5xy is equal to 4xy plus 2000 x divided by 5. So when you have taken this 5 has gone. 5x minus 4x, xy is equal to 2000 x. X will be get cancelled. Now y is equal to 2000 grams. That is, y is equal to 2 kgs. I hope you got clarity. initially for x, value of x per kg, and this is number of kgs. Per kg into number of kgs gives you the total amount. Out of this total amount, the price of the sugar is reduced by 20%. Now this is the reduced price. After reducing, you got 500 grams extra, that for the same price. Now these two equations are similar. Now xy is equal to this thing. After calculating, you got y is equal to 2 kgs. Now substitute this value here. X into 2 is equal to 36. Now x is equal to 18. Now what is this? X is original price. What he has asked? Original price of the sugar, 18%, 18 rupees, sorry. Now if he has asked the reduced price, then how do you find the reduced price? Because 20% of 80% is reduced price, 20% is reduced. That means what is 10% of 18? 1.8, 20% is 3.6. So 20%, 100% minus 20% is reduced price. That gives you here how much? 80 minus 6, 4, 5 minus 3, 14.4. This is the reduced price. So you can, whenever you are asked original price, you are got directly. When you are asked reduced price, you can get by reducing the price. So this is the conventional method. Then how do you going to solve this in shortcut? The shortcut is y is equal to plus or minus AC by B difference A. What are these values? AC, BA reduced by 20%. That means now the reduced value is 80x by 100. Reduced value is 80x by 100. That means 4x by 5. This is A and this is B. The C is number of increased. Now y is equal to plus or minus A. What is that? 4 into C, 500. B minus A, 1 is equal to 2000. Now it is in grams. Y is equal to 2 kg. Now when you substitute here, x into y, 18 simply. So whether there is a requirement of pen, simply 20% reduced means 20% can be reduced means 100 minus 80 by 100. That can be written as 4x by 5. So 4 by 5. A is 4, B is 5. Now you substitute 4 into extra. By looking at the question, 20% means 4x by 5. That means 4 into original price. 4 into by 4 minus 5. A minus B or B minus A gives you y value. When you substitute y value here, x value you got 18%. When he asks reduced price, so 20% is reduced, 10% is 1.8, 20% is 3.6. That is 18 minus 3.6 gives you reduced price. Very simple. Now let's take other question. If similarly there are some apples, that is, if a price of a apple is reduced by some 10%, now he is able to get 10 more apples extra for same rupees 600, 400. So if the price is reduced by 20%, he is gonna get some extra 10 apples at a price of 400. Now what is the original price? What is the reduced price? All those about. How do you calculate? Again the reduced means 20%, means 80 by 4, that is A is 4, B is 5. Again A means 4 means y is equal to 4 into how many apples? 10. 4 minus 5 minus 1, 1, that is 40. Y is equal to 40. X into y is equal to 400. That is what from the question we got. Now x is, y is 40, 400. What is this 10? X is 10. 10 rupees per apple. Now when he asks reduced price, what is 1%? 10% of 1 rupee. 20% is 2 rupees. So 10 minus 2 rupees gives you 8 rupees if he asks reduced price. So this is the way you need to solve. So what I want to convey is, problems can be solved in many number of ways, but the way you need to solve is
having the clarity on the concept, so that you can evolve the questions, you can frame the questions, so that you don't get confused in the examination. So this is the way and this is the method you need to solve approach in the examination. I hope you got clarity regarding the percentages. Thank you very much.